Hello and welcome to this episode of the Joyful Money Podcast. If this is your first time on this podcast or on the YouTube channel, welcome. I am so glad you're here. To introduce myself, my name is Joy Roland. I am the host of this amazing show. And in this podcast, we don't just talk about surface level strategies, we go deep, right? Because we know that when we go deep, that's when the transformation happens. So, on this podcast, I don't just teach you how to budget, save, make money in your business. No, I go deep to help you become the person who deserves to earn a lot of money in a joyful and peaceful way. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to focus on releasing childhood money stories that still hold you back. So many people are struggling to make lots of money and not just make lots of money, but hold lots of money because there's a difference between making money and actually holding the money and growing the money and creating wealth from the money. And I have seen that it's because of the money stories they've learned as kids that have not been resolved yet. Now, in my coaching business, I coach business owners on how to make more money. And I have found that even when I give them the business strategies, they still struggle to take the action. And when I dive in deeper into why they're struggling to attract and receive wealth and hold on to wealth, it all boils down to the money stories that still run in the subconscious that they haven't dealt with yet. And so I know, based off of all of the years I have spent studying money, how to make money, the universal laws of money, I have discovered that it is the money stories we were brought up with that holds us back. And if we truly want to embrace wealth and abundance, we have to uncover those money stories that no longer serve us, right? Because if those stories no longer serve us, then it's time to let them go and it's time to reprogram our brains so that we can attract the wealth and abundance we want. Now, before I dive in deeper, I want to tell you about an exciting workshop I have coming up. It's a brand new class. I have spent weeks and weeks creating this class. And in this class, it's going to be a free workshop. I am going to teach you how to stop worrying about money, how to create peace and attract abundance. So many people are so stressed about money that it's almost causing them depression. They are so anxious about money, the making of money, the keeping of money. All of these worrying is actually having an effect on your emotional, mental, and even physical health in some cases. So in this workshop, it's going to be on Tuesday, September 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to help you to stop worrying about money. I'm going to teach you how to become more peaceful. I'm going to teach you how to become more joyful around money so that you attract lots and lots of it. The link to sign up will be in my Linktree. So go to any of my socials, even here on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, just click on the link. You're gonna see free live workshop. Just click on that and then you can register. Again, it's going to be on Tuesday, September 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you watch this episode after the workshop has passed, I encourage you to still go onto my Linktree and look for the latest live workshop because I regularly run live workshops. I do them every month. So regardless of when you're listening, just head on there and register. And you can also DM me whenever you watch in the future, even if it's 1 year later. Send me a DM and ask for this specific workshop. Hopefully, I still have the replay and I'll send you the replay because my passion is helping people to step into abundance. So many people struggle with the making of money, so many people struggle with thinking about money, making money, investing money, growing money, all of these things, I believe is what's keeping so many people stuck. And my mission in the world is to help people step into their abundance. Okay, so let's get back to today's episode about releasing the old money stories from your childhood that is still holding you back. Now, this touches every single one of us. The money stories we inherited as children. These are beliefs, these are patterns that we picked up, sometimes even without realizing it, that could still be running your financial life today. If you've ever found yourself undercharging for your services, afraid to sell your offer if you have a business, afraid to ask for a raise at work if you have a career or a 9 to 5 job, or you're constantly anxious about money, you're constantly anxious about spending money, chances are that you're living out an old money story that isn't even yours. It wasn't a story you chose, it was a money story you embedded from what you saw around you. Now, a yardstick I love to use with my clients is if I told you to open your mobile app, your bank mobile, your bank account mobile app, what comes up for you? Are you anxious about opening your bank account and seeing what you see there? If you're anxious, then most likely you have a hidden money story that isn't resolved yet. And this is what is keeping you stuck. This is why, if you have a business, you are not signing clients. That even with good intentions, right? Many people have good intentions for their businesses. Many people have good intentions for their careers, but somehow something keeps holding you back. And you might think, oh, on a surface level, of course, I want to make more money, right? Every single person I have met on the surface, we all want to make more money. We want to grow businesses. If you have a business, we want to rise up on the career ladder at work. But the reason we're not achieving those things we want to achieve is because of subconscious beliefs, right? So the you listening to me now, the version of you listening to me now, or watching me if you're watching me on YouTube, logically, you want to be successful. Consciously, you want to be successful. But that logical or conscious part of you accounts for only 5% of the entirety of you. So think about this like an iceberg. There's an iceberg floating on the Pacific Ocean. Well, maybe not the Pacific Ocean, but maybe the close to Canada where there's snow, right? There's an iceberg floating on the sea, and you can only see 5% of the iceberg. The remaining 95% is below the surface, below what you can see. The bigger part of the iceberg is under the water. You cannot see it until you go under the water. So, for many of us, the conscious mind accounts for 5% of what runs the show. The remaining 95% is your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind runs the show because it accounts for 95% of how you think. Your results is all driven from the 95%. And here's the thing, it happens below your consciousness. You're not even aware that you are thinking these thoughts. You are not even aware of the borrowed beliefs, right? So I am saying these beliefs are borrowed beliefs. You didn't intentionally choose those beliefs. Those were things you were told as a child. Those were things you saw with your eyes, you witnessed with your mind as a child, and you've embodied those beliefs, and now your subconscious mind thinks they are truth. If you want to make lasting wealth, if you want to create incredible abundance for yourself and your family, if you want to get off the struggle bus, if you are tired of constantly struggling about money, you need to uncover those subconscious beliefs, those subconscious thoughts that you're not even aware you're thinking, which is crazy. And this is why so many people, sadly, will struggle for decades and decades, even though logically they want to be successful, even though at a conscious level they desire success. But until you do the work to uncover those subconscious thoughts that you are not even aware of, my friend, you will not make progress. I say this because I have seen it, the hundreds of people I have coached. So many people, when I start coaching them, they come to me. Of course, they want to be successful in their business. But then I give them the strategy and I say, go take action, but they don't take action. And even some that take action, they don't get the results. Now, I want to tell you this, and it's going to sound very crazy. It doesn't matter the action you take. I have seen people copy my work online as a business coach. People copy my work and then they come to me and they say they are not getting results. And I go on their Instagram and I see a carbon copy of exactly all of my posts that they've just copied and pasted. They think that is the action that creates the results. No, the action doesn't create the results. What creates the results is your belief system, right? So this is why two different people can take the same actions and get different results. It's crazy. Like I have been studying this for so many years right now, and it just blows my mind how universal law works. It happens from the inside. So if you've been taking all of the actions and you're not getting the results, this is the reason you're not getting results. This is the reason why two people in a workplace doing exactly the same job, one will get promoted and get an increase in salary, and the other person will stay stuck. Even though they are doing the same job, doing the same thing every day. It happens at the subconscious level. I'm going to give you some popular examples of subconscious thoughts. So let's think about the stories you were told as a child. These thoughts happen early in life, right? So it must have been the episode last week. I explained to you, like I have done so many times, that for all of us, our money story is embedded by the age of 7, which is crazy. The money story that's running in your subconscious right now, they've all been embedded by the age of 7. So from age 0 to 7, all of the things you saw your parents do, your caregiver, society, your relatives, all the people around you from age 0 to 7, all of the things they said to you, all of the things you saw has informed your money story. And research has shown that by the age of 7, for all of us, our money story is already embedded. Now, my daughter is 6 years old. And because of this work that I have been doing around money, I have been so intentional about what I say around her, about what I demonstrate, because children actually learn by watching their parents, right? So I have been so intentional about what she sees me as my relationship to money, right? Because I know that by the age of 7, for my daughter who is 6 now, her money story is already embedded. And obviously, I don't want to portray a negative or money story that wouldn't help her in the future. So I want you to know the background of where your money story comes from. So here are some very common money stories. Maybe you must have heard your parents or your caregiver say, money doesn't grow on trees. Maybe you were asking for stuff and they say, no, 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 money doesn't grow on trees. Or you heard them say, we cannot afford that. Maybe you heard that over and over. We cannot afford that. Or maybe you heard rich people are greedy. Or maybe you heard you have to work really, really hard for money. Right? These money stories aren't necessarily good or bad. They were just the lens through which your family at the time were viewing money. But if these money stories go unexamined, they will limit your income, they will limit your opportunities, and they will affect your relationship with money. And that's why many people struggle with their relationship with money. So think of this as glasses, right? So I'm wearing one right now if you're watching on YouTube. So all of those money stories you were told as a child were the lens through which your parents or caregivers were viewing the world. Right. So at the time, for example, for me, my dad would always say, money doesn't grow on trees. Now, he wasn't saying that from a malicious point of view. No, he was saying that because that was the lens he was viewing the world. That was his own lens, right? Now, as a child, you have adopted that same story. So you're now wearing the same lens, the same glasses that your parents and caregivers were wearing at the time and communicating to you, right? So, which is why I said many of those money stories were not even yours to start with. Those were borrowed money stories. Now, if you want to change the trajectory of your financial life, your future, you have to be willing to delve into your subconscious mind to uncover all of those money stories that no longer serve you. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client one time who I was coaching. I could feel some resistance and I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. So I said, okay, tell me about your childhood. So she started to tell me about her childhood, about how she was socialized with money. And then she told me one key story. And that was when I found her problem. And when I uncovered that problem, she was able to go on to make lots and lots of money. And what was the problem? When she was a child, my dad would come and say, "Oh, Emily, can I borrow some money from your piggy bank?" So, my client as a child had this piggy bank where she would save money, and her dad would come and say, "Can I borrow money from your piggy bank?" And then this little girl, obviously, she wants her daddy to be happy. She takes out money from the piggy bank and gives it to her daddy, right? But here's the thing, daddy never gave it back. And it happened over and over and over. Daddy would borrow money from this 5-year-old girl, or I think she was 7 years old at the time, and daddy never gave the money back. And here's how that played out in her life as an adult. This client, this amazing human being, never ever would save any money. Like she would plan to save money, she will start at the beginning of the month, and by the end of the month, she'll go spend that money. And so when we delve deeper, I realized and recognized that because of that experience she had as a child, she was now, her subconscious mind was now saying, if I don't spend money, somebody's going to spend my money and never give it back. So now how that is manifesting is she has a very high paying job. She works in one of the top companies in corporate America. She'll get paid this huge salary and then she'll spend it all because subconsciously that programming was running in the background. And that programming was, if I don't spend all my money, somebody's going to come take it from me and never give it back. So that's an example of how a childhood experience would affect people as adults. Another example was another client who, as a child, I think it was in fifth grade, she was bullied on the playground, and the bullying was around her outfit. So she would wear, okay, her parents weren't well to do. So they were like buying clothes from like cheap stores. And so she was being bullied at school because of the quality of the clothes she was wearing and her shoes, particularly her shoes. And so now, as an adult, she just spends uncontrollably on designer clothes because now she's thinking she's trying to measure up for that little girl, that girl in fifth grade. So see how the money story from her childhood is now affecting her as an adult, and she's never been able to save, invest, or grow her wealth because she's constantly spending all her money on external things. So that's an example of how a childhood money story can affect you. I gave you this example in the last episode, but I think I'm going to say this again. I had a client who her mom divorced her dad. So her mom became a single mom. And they were like maybe five kids, five children her mom had to take care of. And she was a single mom. She was working very hard. She had two jobs, but they only were able to live in a one bedroom apartment. And so they all slept in one bedroom, like in one bed. Well, not in one bed, but in one bedroom. She said there were bunk beds for all of them, and her mom had a bed. I don't remember exactly the story, but she said that because they were staying in one room, they were so close as a family. Even though they didn't have much, they were so close, they were so happy. They were just very close as a family. She has brothers as well, so not just girls, right? And so her mom started dating somebody else, and then her mom got married to somebody else. And then the person she got married to was very wealthy. And so they moved into his mansion. And in this mansion, every single child had their own bedroom, right? Because this guy is super wealthy and he had lots and lots of rooms in the house. Now, she this is how it now manifested. So she said when they moved into this bigger house with lots and lots of rooms, they were no longer close as a family. She said it just created a rift between them. It just created space between them that they would even hardly see each other every day. And so now, as an adult, she equates financial success to distance from family. So this person is an amazing mom. She's now a single mom herself too, and she has these amazing kids, and she loves her kids so much. And how this is manifesting is that she subconsciously is pushing back wealth in her business. So she's not signing as many clients as she would want to because subconsciously her mind thinks, oh, if I make lots and lots of money, I'm not going to be close with my children. And my gosh, when we uncovered this in the coaching session, she was just bawling her eyes out. She was crying in tears. I almost felt like hugging my computer during that session. And that was such a powerful session that we uncovered what the subconscious mind was thinking that was holding her back from attracting wealth and abundance. So, these childhood stories we've carried is having a huge impact on the amount of money we are attracting now, on the amount of money we're able to receive and hold as adults. Okay, so I know I gave three examples there, but let me summarize the way that our childhood money stories may be showing up right now. If you hesitate to negotiate a higher salary because you were taught as a child it is rude to ask for more money, that's a sign that you have subconscious beliefs holding you back. If you are struggling to sign clients in your business, if you have a business and you're struggling to consistently sign clients, that's a sign that there is hidden money beliefs holding you back. If you feel guilty of receiving money because you earn that money, you think earning money equals greed, that's a sign you have a money story holding you back. In fact, now I just remembered another client. So this client, I just noticed that on our first coaching call, when I asked her about her goals, she wouldn't say the word money, right? So she's a coach, she's a business coach as well. And she wouldn't say the word money. And I was coaching her, and I'm like, so I called her name and I said, can you hold on? I said, we've been 45 minutes through this coaching call and you've never said the word money. And then we delved in deeper. And subconsciously, she equates receiving money as robbing people of their resources. Now, I had watched her sales calls and I saw how she was always hesitant when it comes to telling people her price. And so I asked her, I said, why is this the case? And we delved in deeper and we discovered that She feels so bad receiving money for her services. She feels so terrible receiving money because subconsciously she thinks if I receive money from this person, I am robbing them of resources. And obviously, she's a good person, right? No good person wants to rob people of their resources. And so that subconscious thought kept her stuck in her business. When we unraveled all of this and we started reprogramming new thoughts, the next month, she had her first ever $15,000 month. That's how powerful this is when you uncover the money story holding you back. Another example is overspending. So I already gave you an example of that client who will always overspend. Or if you avoid saving money because you grew up with a money always disappears story, right? The one I just told you about, the girl who would save money and her dad would take the money and the money never came back. If you undercharge for your hard work, if you feel like working hard feels safer than earning easily. Now, this is a concept many people struggle with. They struggle with the concept of money being easy because you've been socialized that to make lots and lots of money, you have to work hard. So I want you to pause for a minute because I've given you lots and lots of examples. And maybe you're thinking and you're realizing some of the money stories holding you back. I want you to know that this is normal. So many people have these money stories. I don't want you to think something is wrong with you. I don't want you to think you're broken in any way. You are not. Okay. I have my own money stories. I had to uncover those money stories to create the life I have now. So I know it is doable if you choose to do the work. So I want you to know that you are not broken. You only have an operating system running on an old script. But here's the good news. I love giving good news. The good news is that you can rewrite your money story. Remember earlier, I told you about our money story being embedded by the age of 7. Now, I didn't make this up. This is research done by neuroscientists and money experts. They found out that by the age of 7, our money story is already embedded. Okay, so but here's the good news. There is another concept called neuroplasticity. And what that means is that our brains have the capacity to develop new pathways. Our brains have the capacity to develop new neural pathways in the brain. So even though our money stories have been embedded by the age of 7, we can actually rewrite those money stories with the power of neuroplasticity. So it doesn't matter the money stories that have been holding you back from childhood. You can choose to change those money stories. The power is in your hands. You can decide to reprogram your brain to align with your goals. So if your goal is to make, let's say, 20K every single month, if that's your money goal, I want to make $20,000 every single month. You can reprogram your mind with the beliefs that will help you achieve those goals. Because the subconscious thought, money doesn't grow on trees, if that's what's running in your subconscious mind, that will not get you to $20,000 per month. You have to reprogram your mind with the beliefs and the thoughts that will help you reach your goals. So, the good news here is that it is possible to rewire, reprogram your mind to align with the version of you want to achieve. Okay? So, that's the good news. And I love delivering good news. Okay, so here's a 3-step process to release old money stories. How do you release the money stories that are not serving you? Step number 1 is to become aware of them. Because if you're not aware of your money stories, how can you change them? Okay, so you need to discover your unique money story, your unique subconscious beliefs about money that have created the results you have now. So let's say you're stuck at 10K a month. If you're stuck at 10K and you want to get to 20K, you need to realize that the belief system that got you to 10K will not take you to 20K. So ask yourself, what did you hear? What did you see? What did you experience as a child growing up about money? I want you to think about that. What was it you saw in your family, in your community as a child growing up about money? So for me, my parents were fighting about money. Okay. So that was how I was socialized. Money was a very difficult subject. Money was a subject that always brought about pain that ended up with fights between my mom and my dad. So ask yourself, what did I see as a child around money? What did my parents tell me as a child about money? So here's a journal prompt. In your journal, I want you to write, when I think about money, what's the first memory that comes up for me? This client I told you about her mom getting married and then moving into a bigger house. I told on the coaching call, I said, can you describe to me what you think about when you think of money? So I asked her to close her eyes and I said, what comes up in your mind when you think of money? And she said, she sees money as this huge giant of a man that is overpowering, that is not loving. And I'm like, wow. When she gave me a vivid description of what money meant to her, I'm like, wow. I said, would you describe money as a friend? She said, no. She doesn't think money is a friend. She thinks money is something that never stays. It comes and goes. I'm like, wow. So I want you to do the same exercise. Journal about this and think when you think about money, what's the first memory of money you have as a child growing up? So that's step number one, to become aware of the thoughts. For many people, there are many, many beliefs, right? There are many, many subconscious beliefs. You have to uncover all of them and you have to rewire all of them so that they are aligned with your vision. After the first step of awareness, the second step is to detach and refrain. So recognize that your family's money story does not have to be your money story. Okay, so those money stories you've been socialized and ingrained with, I want you to recognize that those, you can decide that those are not your stories. You can detach from them. So if you heard money is scarce, you can refrain to say money flows in and out, and I can learn to manage it with ease. So that could be your new thought. Okay, so detach and reframe each of those money stories. And step number three is to anchor a new story. You need to create a new money belief system that aligns with your goals. Examples would be, I am worthy of earning and receiving money. I love that. I am worthy of earning and receiving and keeping money. I'll even add, I am worthy of growing money. Receiving money feels safe and joyful. Many people don't believe that you can receive money and be happy and joyful in a joyful way. So that's another belief you can start to reprogram in your subconscious mind to say, it is possible to be joyful and be wealthy. It is possible to be wealthy and kind. So maybe it's time to find the evidence for your brain, because remember, our brains like to ask for evidence. So go into the world and find, is there any wealthy person who's nice? So many of them. So many wealthy people I know that are so nice, so kind, so giving. So I want you to find evidence in the world of wealthy people who are doing good things. So that will tell your brain that not all wealthy people are greedy. So give your brain evidence, okay? So anchor the news story and maybe anchor it with a ritual, right? So you might think, oh, how can I do this often? So you can say, whenever I check my bank account, I'm going to anchor those new beliefs. Whenever I pay a bill, I'm going to anchor those new beliefs. So set it up in a way that it becomes part of your life. Okay, that's why it needs to be done alongside something you do every day. So I do it with when I'm brushing my teeth. When I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I am anchoring those new beliefs so that I do them every single day. So you can start with, oh, maybe I check my bank account every 3 days, right? So if you check your bank account every 3 days, you could say, every time I log into my mobile banking app, I am going to anchor these new beliefs. So you need to do it in a consistent way. Okay, so I know I gave you a lot to do, but I want to give you a practical strategy because you could do all the mindset work you want to do until the cows come home. If you're not taking action, there is no way your situation is going to change. Okay, so you have to marry the mindset action with actual strategy. So for this week, I want you to choose one small money action, a very small money action you're going to take this week that will reinforce your belief. So if, for example, your old money belief was, oh, I'm terrible with money, I cannot save money. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go open a new savings account and just transfer $20. Just $20. And just set it up as a monthly transaction from your current account to your savings account. Just do that so that you can start proving to your brain that you can become the person you want to be. If your money story is asking for a raise at work, is greedy, I cannot ask for more money. Here is the action I want you to take this week. I want you to write down in your journal how much increase in salary you desire in this quarter, right? So in the next 2 to 3 months, you're going to ask for a raise at work. So write that figure down. So let's say you want an increase of $20,000 or $50,000. Write that down and in your journal, say when you're going to ask for a raise at work. Okay, so I want to emphasize that when you do this inner work, you have to pair it with aligned action. That's when we get lasting transformation, right? This is why so many people do money mantras and they never ever work because until you pair your mantras with aligned action, you never get results. So remember, your childhood money story have shaped who you are today, but it doesn't have to define you. You have the power to rewrite your money story, to create safety around money, and to expand with overflow. Now, I have created a brand new membership that you can join every single month where you come get coaching every single week. There is no long term commitment, it's just a monthly membership. This is where I will help you uncover all of the money blocks holding you back and then give you tangible strategies you can take every single week to get you closer to your goal. Because the goal is for you to build wealth, the goal is for you to become at peace with money, the goal is for you to enjoy money in a joyful way. So I have created this membership. This is where you come every single week with me. Once a week, you get coaching. I give you action items. You go through the action items. You come back the next week. And like I said, there is no long-term commitment. It's just a monthly membership and you can cancel anytime. I'm super excited for this one. If you want details, just send me a DM and I'll send you the details. It's super fun. I want to thank you again for being part of this podcast. I absolutely love hearing all of your feedback via Instagram. I want to hear what's landing for you today. What money stories do you want to start rewriting today? I want to hear and I want to keep you accountable so that you take the action to rewrite those money stories. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, very quickly before you go, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending time with me today. I hope today's episode gave you something powerful to add to your business toolbox, something you can come back to anytime you need a little extra motivation in your business. If you loved today's episode, the best way you can support me and the show is to leave me a review and also to share this with an incredible businesswoman like yourself. And if you're ready to create consistent 10K months with ease and alignment, I invite you to apply to join my 6 months mastermind. Visit joyrowland.com to book your free complimentary discovery call. I cannot wait to help you step into your next level. Until next time, stay aligned, stay confident, and keep creating joyful money. Bye for now.